What is up, y'all? I am so excited to be back here with you tonight. It seems like it's been so long. I don't even know if anybody's going to show up. It seems like I just dropped out and kind of went off out of nowhere. And I have to thank my great friend Pamela Topchin for trying to help everyone stay in the loop. I've just been going through some huge changes in my life. I mean, in my recovery journey, in my life as a whole, in my healing journey. It's just been wow. And I had to kind of wait till I got on the other side of a lot of it so I could really speak to you from the heart about, the constant thing in our life, which is change, and how much we kind of fear it, and how much different it is when we kind of just begin to let let go, kind of like surrender in. So this has been a long journey for me, and I'm going to share with you about some of it that I feel like I am far enough through to the point that I have clarity. um and I know it's not over, it's still going, but I feel good. I really feel good. I'm grateful to be back here. I hope, that people are able to see that we're here, and I'll come and talk about this because this is something that's big for all of us. And I have a big, huge feeling that I'm not the only one that is experiencing a lot of big changes at once. Whatever that looks like for you, whether it's one big thing or all these different little things, we're all going through a lot of changes right now. And so I would love, and I am grateful for the opportunity to just share with you about mine. And I hope that you find some resonance within there in your life and that you can gain something from this message. And so good. Good, good. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I certainly am. I hope everybody can welcome me back. I'm doing the best I can, but in the meantime, I dropped some amazing episodes that I was able to record. And that one last week with Dr. Tracy Kimball was really outstanding. And it really talked about, it goes along with um what goes into this part of like healing through changes and having the choice. It's power of possibility, and the beautiful thing about healing and recovery is it gives us a choice. And so we get to choose. Anyway, we're going to talk all about that. Hey, but I do want to do this real quick because most people don't watch until the end. And I understand it's a long show, it's long content, and I am long winded. But listen, if however you find your recovery is absolutely amazing, whatever that is. If you are walking in a path where your light is brightening, where you are doing things that you better your life, this is a process, then amazing, whatever that is. And for a lot of people it becomes 12-step programs, and I think that it's been proven 12-step programs help people stay in their recovery and get into their recovery just crazy amounts every day. But for those who, think along the same lines of the 12 steps and want to go deeper into that, Peg O'Connor has written this amazing book, Higher and Friendly Powers, and you can get it on Amazon just by going to her name. And she's written a couple other books too. That episode with her was amazing too. If you hadn't watched it, I would urge you to. It's amazing. And yes, yes, yes. Make sure you're still picking up these copies of I Didn't Come This Far to Only Come This Far by my great friend Pamela Topchin. It's an amazing book. They're all filled with hope. They're all filled with healing. They're all filled with stuff, that that just enriches your life. Like I don't have the energy to do a lot of stuff today that don't add to my life anymore. And so that's been a big change. So, all right. Well, I'm ready to get into it. I think a few of you are here and I'm super excited for this. So, if you guys are ready, let's get into this, Saturday Night Live, Recovery Soul Food Live with me, Reverend LC, and you. Let's go. So, what's up? Let me jump to the comments real quick to see. I think because I'm seeing comments that There are people here. What's up, Janet? What's up, Pam? If there's anybody else watching, we're like live streaming on like 6 platforms right now, most on Facebook. Um, what's up? Thanks for being here, and thanks for those that'll watch this later, because I hope you will watch this later, because I have not been lately in the place. What's up, Sarah Jane? I have not lately been in the place where I was ready to share about all of the big changes I'm going through, and I'm not at a place where I'm fully, completely through this process, but at least I'm at a place now where I can be grateful. I'm so grateful. My body's feeling better. I just feel better all around. I'm starting to experience things that I just had a vision about, years ago, and just watching my life move in progress. But in the meantime, to get to that progress, I had to go through some really big changes. And sometimes in the moment, we don't even realize how big the changes and the circumstances are going, how big they are while we're in them. And it seems like only after we kind of get across that, one of those finish lines and onto the next lesson through it, that we're able to gain some clarity about it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself, y'all, because, this was a part of my toolbox where I had gathered the tools, but I really didn't understand exactly how and where to use them. I used this analogy earlier today when I was messaging with a friend, and I said, it's like, you can go to the hardware store and buy the fanciest, most expensive set of tools they have in there, and you can have the tools. But if you have no idea what the tool really is and how to use it, it becomes, well, I mean, it can become dangerous. And so I just wanted to get through some of this stuff and some of this big stuff to kind of share with you guys. And I hope it'll be some kind of hope for you, because like I said in the beginning, I know that I'm not the only one that's experiencing these very big energies, these big shifts and these big changes in our lives. And what we know the most is that pain is the greatest agent to change. And so it always seems, and I always seem to be a slow learner. I'm getting better, and that's where I can have shown myself this time that I'm getting better. Like I'm beginning to understand what those other tools and tool things are, and what all of the work and the healing up until now has brought me into a place of. And it doesn't mean that it's easy to go through the things. You know what I mean? Like every day being on a healing journey, and every day it's like, I think in the trend right now that people say, want this spiritual awakening, and they think it's like this big hand that snatches this whole blanket off of you and your whole life's exposed and you're okay with it. Like when this begins to happen, it starts to send your nervous system into these big shifts and changes, and you're honestly most times unaware, and you start going through things and sicknesses and inflammations, and you're really not aware, and it's just these changes that are happening within us. It's this growth, and it's like when we hit the pain, we can choose to have like a knowing that, okay, I'm going through it, but I've been through it before, and I've come out, and I've just kept walking in the same direction, stumble, get up, walk, you know and I keep going in the same direction. I know I'm going to come out on the other side. And there's something about choosing that possibility versus wrapping ourselves, in the fear and the discomfort and the resistance to the change, because most of us know change is coming, whether we want it to or not. And, I think learning how to move as much as you can with it, and being able to make a choice on whatever level we are in our healing journey, our recovery journey. I mean, I think this is good for us in all levels of this, and just keep, like choosing to find some type of hope on the other side of whatever the great change in front of you is. Because the more we resist, we all know this, the harder it comes, because it's coming. And this time, through so many things, and I look back and I think, wow, that was a lot of big stuff all at once. It didn't seem like it going in, but then it really came to about that this is a lot of big stuff coming at once. And it's so many things that are good. And simultaneously, I'm still working through some things, some harder things, some deeper things. But there's aspects of this now that are showing their prosperity from the amount of healing and clarity and hope that I was able to go into them to. And I know in very early recovery, it's very hard to find hope in a lot of things, because you're starting to try to build your life, and you've got this other big thing of learning how to do life and cope and heal without using a substance or a habit or something to escape. That can be hard to find hope in that. And I think that's why I love people sharing about things, because I think the more we blanket it with a share, that somebody has hope, because it just takes that spark of hope. Like, if I wouldn't be here without a spark of hope. And the spark of hope came from, I had tried it the same way so many times that all of a sudden I had this thing go off in my head that said, oh, we can try it a different way now. So that was my spark of hope. And that's what led me down a path, but it came from pain. So realizing that where you are now, coupled with the paths that you choose and everything, they can go in ways that can give you a better outcome quicker, by finding that hope, finding some kind of inspiration, whatever it is. Just find hope for that day if you're early. And in year 1 and 2 and 3, you're rebuilding a life, and you're learning how to cope, and you're doing all these things, and it's a lot of life. So I hope that this can, resonate in all spaces that people are in. If you get on a soul journey, you're going through the same things. You're awakening to your own self, you're awakening to you, and that can get overwhelming at times. And so, I think what I learned this time through some of my big changes is that I had to give myself grace. And I had to honor the places in me that had the emotions, because one thing I had done, I got my kindness counts glass of my wife's sweet tea. It's not as healthy for me, but I love it. But one of the things that I also learned was about honoring all the emotions that I had during the process. And the process that I went through through this past stuff, these changes that I'm going through even now, is that nothing was normal anymore. And that's what change does. It comes in and it disrupts, and nothing's normal anymore. And it's kind of like that tea. I guess that's what made me think of it, is this tea is about the only thing left that's very routine for me. And so I find comfort in routines. And I used to hold on to my routines when I knew change was coming, when something different is beginning to happen and things start to change in our lives. And I had tried so hard to hold on to my routines in the past for dear life, because they were like security for me. They gave me a sense of structure, which is what, I think I lacked most of all in my life, was a sense of structure, loving structure. And so, I just, excuse me, through this time, it was like I just learned how to let kind of go of some of the things. And it didn't happen all at once. Like, I had to let go of little things, over different life. Life's always going to shake us up. And so I let go of these little things, and it all of a sudden became a little bit lighter to go through because I wasn't just resisting the change, whatever it was, when was shifting was pulling me away from these things. And that's how we're going to go through life. We're always going to have things that we grow out of. We're going to have friendships and relationships that we may grow out of. And, and that's okay. And we have to learn how to honor all of that. And so through this time, I just wanted to give all of my possibilities, all the emotions that I had, all the places that I went in my head, um, a seat at the table of me, and just allow myself to feel that way because I was a pleaser. And, I lived my life like I just had this big secret. And so I was always suppressing, my voice. I was just always suppressing myself. And so when I would have these bursts of anger and I started managing my anger and working through my anger and stuff, I never would let anger come in. So anytime I felt it, it was like I would just immediately switch off. And I didn't realize that it was not going anywhere. It was just kind of burying itself. And I was healing it little by little. But, I realized in this change that, oh, that part still lives there too. It's not as extreme by any means. We've done a whole lot of work on this booger, but it's still there. And the difference between then and now is that I can be aware of it, and I can learn from my past and make a strategy where I don't step in those same holes, like, you know, in the before, my wife and I have been together for 18 years, and she was the one that caught the brunt of, my explosions because she was the only one I could be open with. And and so, that's a place that I never want to go again. So I want to always try to know that I'm prone to take things out on the person that I love, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try to be aware of when that's coming, when my aggravation levels get in a certain place. And I try to start stepping out in front of those things. And it was really amazing, and I think far less painful than had I just, bared on and stayed with, the pain and just, focused in on that. And just learning how to lean into it with that spark of hope that says, on the other side of this, I know there's something different. I know there's something, different and better. It's likely you need to think about your prayers, the things you've prayed about, the things you've prayed for, the things you've, thought about in your head and pictured in your mind, all of those things, because a lot of these changes will be lending themselves towards you. We're given the desires of our heart, not really the desires of our head. So for those things, you have to be pulled into change. Not often what we pray for just drops in our lap in a nice package. It comes in a shakeup. And when you can get to a place where you can start to recognize that a shakeup is coming, you can go ahead and get your tools out. I found that having a community that communicates the way I do and the way that's best for me, and some really great people in my life that are mentors to me. They're in a different healing space that's even, in a different place than mine. And so I'm able to talk to them. Pamela, shout out. I'm able to talk to them about things. Martin John, shout out. Kareth Foster, shout out. I mean, like, I had like giants around me, and it was just amazing to be able to have a community like that. But I had to choose that community, like I had I had to start to be the type of person that I wanted to, have in my life. I had to try to be the type of friend I wanted. And, I'm not in their league by any means, but I hope that they, feel my love and friendship. And so, I surrounded myself with people that were on my side and could recognize what I was going through and could kind of even give me kind of a heads up. And I can't, that was valuable to me. And so that's a huge tool that you should have from day one, is changing. If you want your energy in your life to change, you have to surround yourself with people who have what it is about them, that you honor about them, not their possessions, but what you honor about them, and how you want to see yourself. It's important to surround yourself with people that represent that. It's hard to try to raise your level of thinking in a place where everybody else is thinking on a different level. You're going to try and you're going to make it up sometimes, and it's just going to be so hard to fight that you're just going to go up and down and up and down. And there's some things that you can do for yourself right off the bat. Change that. Change that. It's worth it. I promise you it's worth it. It hurts and it's scary at the time, but that's another change. And we have to do that, and we have to dive into the places that keep coming up for us. If you keep having these shakeups and it's the same theme, you know, find out what the theme is. What is the theme? Don't be afraid to sit down, with what is the theme. It's okay. We got to get honest and accountable with ourselves. I had to find the theme, and some of the themes that I found in my life were not pretty, and I was, super ashamed of them, and I had to, like, move them through, and I had so much help along the way. And I advocate so much for help for people without insurance, because I was out. When I was out, I didn't have insurance. Never did I have insurance. It was always, how could I create a program with state funded or free how can I create a program that's going to work for me? And I think that is where you really got to take a stand and advocate for yourself. Create a program that is right for you. Let everybody else have their program. That's fine. Create your program. Do that and this and that and this and everything that starts to bring you and mend you together from a place that these places of pain can become power and possibility, because that's what pain actually turns into on the other side of all the shakeups and going through the healing processes. And some of it we get right going through it one time, and others, like me, like I've said before, I go the long way. But I'm so grateful that I chose to surrender certain things. I chose to lean on people that I love, that were a rock in my life. My wife, shout out to her, because without her, some of this would have just been impossible feeling. And she just kept lighting my match. She just kept lighting my spark of hope through the whole thing. And so I was able to move through it. And I hope to talk about it one day soon, but I'm still in the process. And that wasn't the only thing. I mean, there's so much wrapped into it. But I know on the other side of this is the freedom that I have been asking for, the freedom and the clarity that I've been asking for. And so with amazing people around me, I'm able to keep that spark of hope going. And you guys are that too. You let me come here and share. I appreciate that. I mean, really. I mean, this is so therapeutic for me. And I love being able to share it. And I hope that that somebody's able to see themselves in something and take something and just, put that in their box and use it when it comes time, because that's all I want to do it for. Because this is so important to me. Like, I was so lost. And I know we're not supposed to use the word broken, but I was wounded to the core of my being. And I felt that way from about 5 years old on up. And some days I can still feel that way. And I just have different tools, and different moments where I just let it be. When I can, I let it be. When I can let it safely be, I let it be. And when I can't, I do what I have to do. I get up and move, reach out, whatever it is. But for me to be able to talk about being in recovery for 10 years, for creating a program out of all free services, because I had no money, no insurance. But I knew it had to happen, and it had to happen then, or I just wouldn't be here anymore. So That's what I did, and I'm so grateful that I did that because, you know, so I gotta share. I wasn't supposed to be here, and you probably weren't either. You probably weren't either. Have to go and make a video. I'm not gonna give too many details, but I have to go and make a video, and I'm excited and honored to be a part of it. Don't get me wrong, I really am, because I think there's some beautiful influence that can be had, and we can start different conversations. But you have to answer that question of how did the opioid epidemic affect you? And I'm in such a space now where I can say it helped me stay alive because I was coping with so much pain, and then it helped me to reach a place of recovery, which I am so grateful for. So I have really no idea how I'm going to answer this question, but I hope they're going to hear my ideas about talking more about recovery, because we've got to keep lighting other people's matches. you know People that are walking around within themselves and coping with mental health stuff and body stuff and pain, and people are out here just trying to cope with life in this place, and that space leaves you with feeling like you don't have choices. But I hope that sharing about what everything that I go through as authentically and truthfully as possibly I can, because that's my promise to myself and you, that, man, I couldn't believe I could be here either. So if you're on the cusp of thinking that it's not worth it, you've tried it before, and you don't know if it's going to work this time or any of that, just give it a shot and do something different. Just do something different. Heal your head, heal your heart, begin to heal your life. It all comes, and it's worth it. It's worth it to move through and as healthy as possible. And I don't know, just being there for you in a way that I know sounds so cliche. I know so much is just saturated right now, and I don't want to be a part of that. But there are a lot of those things that do help, and you know be a part of wanting to know that you are that person like that you feel inside. When we're coping like that, that gets covered up, and we start to believe we're not a good person, and that's the lie. And if you just turn around and come back home to yourself, you know and do whatever that it takes to do that. you know don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Don't be afraid to seek things out. There are so many things, have scholarships and different things. Seek it out. And if you don't think you can do it, well, I'm telling you, I didn't think I could do it either. And I got to celebrate 10 years in full-on active recovery in April, and I'm going through so much now, and I'm so grateful that I went through it, and I gained knowledge, and I gained wisdom, and I gained experience from it, and I get to come and share it with you. And okay, I am not back to 100% yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off. But I really do hope that something here resonated with you, and if not, you just liked hanging out with me, because I appreciate hanging out with you. This is such a beautiful part of my life and part of my world, and I thank people for watching it. I mean, really, I never imagined. I just never imagined. So. I love you guys. I felt all your prayers, and I feel all of your love and your energy, and I hope you feel mine back. It's amazing to get to do this for you. I hope you have the most amazing week ever, and I will see you next week. And hey, if you didn't see last week's show with Dr. Tracy Kimball, go watch that. Acceptance, surrender. Power of self-love, man, male, female, masculine, feminine, it don't matter. There is beauty in that for you, and the episode before with Soul Tools, I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm done. Y'all have an amazing week, and I'll see y'all next time. Thanks so much.